Hi everybody, last lab and one final chance to talk about cartography and the results of your analyses and how to present them professionally. So for this last assignment, I just wanted to kind of run through generally the things I'm looking for, and then you can kind of take a look at your own maps and try and determine for yourself, look at your maps objectively and try and ask yourself, what could you improve? So one thing I think about when I look at maps like this is the overall hierarchy of text sizes and the alignments. Am I seeing a consistent margin and do things look like they're lined up deliberately? I also want to see that you're removing the dynamic credits, the base map credits. We went over that many times in lab. They really are awkward and it's obnoxious that Esri forces that on us. So the correct thing to do is remove those dynamic credits and include the information in your own way, in your own, like in alignment with your own data credits. Another thing you can do is to provide context, is to provide base maps that work with your data. So when you're zooming in, it really makes sense to use satellite imagery because we can see the detail on the ground. Using colors that really stand out against the base map. When you zoom out, using a base map that has some locational context and landmarks that are labeled. And then sometimes when I zoom out this far, I like to switch to a more graphic base map, but this works because we can see a lot of the labels that give us that relative context. One scale bar works for these because of the alignment. It helps us understand that they're all shown at the same scale, and this is really well edited. It might help to have a scale bar here because we don't really know, but it's really showing us kind of the proximate context, and then we get a sense or an intuitive sense for the scale when we look at it. We can kind of see the outline of Maine. We get an idea of how big this is, so that works. Good editing on the results needed to be calculated. The areas that I put on the example map were just place fillers. I wanted to see you guys calculate them yourselves. Let's just take a look at a couple more. There are a lot of different ways you could lay this out on the page. You can go landscape or portrait and make it work pretty well. But again, good rounding, units provided, units of measurement, one scale bar for the three maps. It's clear to see the symbology, and we have in between context. Good strong text hierarchy as well. Let's see here, let's look at one more really quick. This one used a completely different base map, which is just great. Simple scale bar, well edited. The locations are the reason for numbering the locations would be to unify it to this map a little bit, but that's fine. Great text hierarchy on this one. Stepping down to gray to reduce the contrast, and then use of an extent indicator. I am looking at these. It's one thing to draw them by hand, but when they don't match the proportions, or if they're off a little bit, I think it's distracting for the map viewer. So I had the instructions for how to use the extent indicator tool. It's a dynamic tool, so as you zoom in and out, it actually changes the location of this square in this map frame. So it's a really handy thing to know how to do. So that's it. I'm kind of looking for that general layout, removal of the dynamic credits, strong hierarchy and alignments, and logical spatial context. So take a look at your maps and really ask yourself what you could do to improve things. And if you have questions, stay in touch and let me know. Thanks.